Hello friends, welcome to Raut's IAS. I am Loknath and today going to discuss about the anthropological thought, otherwise the theory of anthropology. We know that anthropological thought or the theory of anthropology plays an important role in anthropology. That is, it is the core of the subject matter. That is, anthropological thought or any other kind of thought of a subject is the core part. It is the core of the subject matter. Is it right? Like that, the thought of anthropology, that means theory of anthropology, also play an significant role in the determining the directions and the future and the subject matter content of the any subject. Like that, this way, now we are going to learn how the subject develop its own thoughts or theories, how far they are usable, how far they are related, how far they are helpful to the students or any kind of applied branch of the science or the anthropology. Is it right? To see, actually, the different thoughts, different thinkers of anthropology, they have developed their theories on the basis of work they have done, or they have the contribution towards the subject, and how they started working in this field, and what are the empirical results they got. Okay, fine. How they are visualizing, how they are perceiving, what is the perception of the subject matter, how it is proceeding. Is it right? So now we are going to discuss how the different scientists or different anthropologists contributed their theory or thirst in the development of anthropology or the subject in the. Is it right? So number one, due to the development of the thoughts in anthropology, it has brought certain significant development of the subject matter, development of the subject. That is, we can say, number one, previously anthropology was based on the secondary data or the arms. There are certain arms, there are anthropologists, they depended on the secondary source of data. Now movement from secondary source of data, secondary source of data to field work, tradition or observation. By that way, what happens now? The rapid RRA and PRA developed. So now they not only depend on the secondary source of data, they also go to the field, they observe, they participate, they collect data themselves and they analyze. So from armchair anthropologist, now we are going to field work oriented. So this is one point. Number one, movement from the secondary source of data to primary source of data, direct observation, direct participation. So this is number one. That means PRA and RRA. Participatory rural appraisal, participatory rural appraisal, and another one is rapid rural appraisal. Okay friends, this is called PRA, participatory rural appraisal, RRA, rapid rural appraisal. Now this is developed in the anthropology due to some thinkers they have contributed. That is, from we are not only depend upon the secondary source of data, we are also going to the field, observing the data, analyzing data. We are ourselves staying in the field, collecting data, observing the facts. Is that right? So this is one of the changes that take place due to anthropological thought. It is one type of contribution of anthropological thought. Number one. Number two, Number 2, now we are a movement from in ethnocentric view to emic and etic view approach. Emic and etic, ethnocentric view. It is number 2 contribution of anthropological theory or thought. What is that? Ethnocentric related to culture. We think that our culture is great. Ethnocentrism, we think that somewhat some of them think that our culture is more superior than other cultures. So this type of thinking, our culture has more advancement than others. So this type of thinking, I thought it's called ethnocentrism. Now we are not ethnocentric oriented. Otherwise, we are going towards moving towards a movement towards emic and etic approach. That means based on the insiders point of view, and an anthropologist or scientist point of view, scientist or anthropologist point of view. Okay, there is a movement, there is a transformation from ethnocentric point of view to emic and etic. That means how the emic and etic means how the residents, that means the subject, how the subject is thinking about his culture, his field, his society. Then etic approach, the scientific, what is the scientific point of view, what is the science anthropologist point of view, how the anthropology is observing that field. So is it right? That is called approach towards movement towards ethnocentric to emic etic. It is number 2 contribution of anthropology theory. Number 3. Now let us number 3. Number 3 is that we are going to moving towards more action oriented and apply oriented. Is it right? Instead of anthropology moving toward movement from theoretical oriented to action and applied oriented, applied branch or application branch, we can say. That means previously what we are doing or thinking about the subject matter only theoretical, but instead nowadays we are instead of focusing more on the theoretical part, we are focusing how the subject is taking towards more action oriented, more application oriented. That means we are learning or we are more discussing or observing or applying the anthropological field towards action and applied branches. Like we can say nutritional science, you can say the action of, as I know that there is another newest branch of anthropology, that the action anthropology, that is action anthropology. It is applied branch of anthropology, that is called action anthropology, developed by Soltax. Action, it is an applied branch of science, which is called action anthropology. It is an application based. Is it not only theoretical, how the anthropology can be applicable to other fields of society or nation? Is it right? That is also, it is what another contribution of what anthropological thought. Now let us see what are the different thoughts of anthropology. So different theory of anthropology, we can say evolutionism, that is again further divided into classical and what neo-evolutionist. It is also divided into classical and neo-evolutionist. Those who are believing in the classical, they are called classical evolutionists, and those who are believing in neo evolution, they are called neo evolutionists. Okay. Next come to number 12, diffusionism. Diffusionism, and that is also called, they are called, the scientists, they are called diffusionist. Okay. Next come to functionalistic. Functionalism, we can say functionalism, structuralism, structure functionalism, structure functionalism. That is another one is called historical particularism by Franz Boas. Historical particularism. So these are the different thoughts: evolutionism, diffusionism, functionalism, structuralism, structure functionalism. So this as we have seen. So we'll discuss one by one. Next, what is the evolutionism? Evolution means, we know that evolution is a slow and gradual step-by-step process in which, like biological evolution, cultural evolution take place. Is it right? And that is evolution with classical and neo evolution. Classical, these are best are classified on the basis of time period or before 1960. That means 1960s. Before 1960s, you will take 60s. Before this time is called classical, and after this time we can say it neo evolutionist. Is it right? Next question to diffusionism. Diffusionism is what? Diffusion of culture. We know that in science there is diffusion. It is a spontaneous movement of particles. Is it right? The spontaneous automatic movement of particles, passing of particles from two different sources are called diffusions. Like that, culture also diffuse. That means different particles, different elements, different segment of culture, they diffuse each other. Is it right? We can say the Western culture are coming mixing with Indian culture is diffusing with the Western culture. In this way, there is a diffusion of element or segment of parts. Is it right? Next, functionalism. Functionalism is developed by Malinowski. Functionally, how the different orderly, just like we know that the organism has different parts or organs, how they are functioning in the culture. There are also different segments or parts, how they are also arranged orderly. And just like the systems of the body, biological system of the body, they also functioning. Each part, each segment, each element of this culture has a certain significant role to play. That is called functionalism. Next is your structuralism. Structuralism is developed by Levi-Strauss. Okay, structuralism. Levi-Strauss developed this structuralism. Structure means different structure, arrangement of different parts or element of culture in a systematic way, in a functional way. That is called what? Structuralism. Next comes structural functionalism. It was developed by Radcliffe Brown. So structural functionalism, this is synthesized structure and function, how they are arranged, how they are performing different functions, different elements in a culture. Is it right? Next is your historical particularism. This was developed by what? Franz Boas. Historical particularism developed by Franz Boas. Is it right? So evolutionism developed by Morgan, Taylor, these are. So they are also divided on the basis of continents. The American evolutionary, British evolutionary, German evolutionary. We'll discuss one by one. Let us discuss about the first one, the evolutionist. Evolution means, as I have told, it is just as defined by Darwin. It is a gradual, slow movement. It is a slow and gradual movement from more simpler to more complex. Is it right? But according to Spencer, it is a step-by-step process. step by step process. But according to Darwin, as Darwin developed the biological evolution, it is a slow and gradual process. Whether it may be Spencer, it may be Darwin, what actually the evolution is proceeding from simpler to complex. The nature of evolution is that movement from simpler to complex. Number one, it moves from homogeneity to heterogeneity. Simpler to complex and homogeneity to heterogeneity. And number three feature is that the certainty to uncertainty. So these are the three broad features or the three characteristics of evolution of culture. Whether it is biological evolution, whether it means socio-cultural evolution, cultural evolution, whatever, that means it always moved from simpler to complex. If we will see that the cultural element at the time of invention or time of starting, you will go back to the history, prehistory, then you will find that there is a system, society, the culture, their living pattern, everything was very simple. Now in the modern society it is very complex. So that is called simple movement of culture from simple to complex. Homogeneity to heterogeneity, from a group of people having similar. There at that time there is no rigid class system, no cultural identification, no their boundary of culture and society or nation. So at that time, at the primitive stage we are discussing. So these are what called homogeneity. Now we are at the certain more towards heterogeneity, having class division, caste division. Is it right? Next one is uncertainty. Now at that time some specific direction में move कर रहा था कोई society, there is movement of society or culture in a particular direction and known direction, that is certainty, but now it is moving towards uncertainty. We cannot say what happened in the near future. Is it right? So cultural evolution is a school of thought. The cultural evolution is a school of thought that believes culture as a whole socio-cultural institution. Socio-cultural evolution thought that think that evolutionism think that believe that culture as a whole, a socio-cultural institution, cultural institution. Socio-cultural institution. Is it right? Socio-cultural institution. So this beliefs on how in the orderly fashion, the development of culture is in a orderly fashion. Development of culture in a orderly fashion. That means they also believed in the two important factors. They believe in two important factors. That is, number one, psychic unity of mankind. And what psychic uniqueness of mankind, another is what is called culture parallels. Concept of culture parallels. What is psychic unity? So evolutionary based they mostly depend upon the psychic unity of mankind and concept of cultural, but these are the key features of the evolutionism. What is psychic unity of mankind? Psychic unity of mankind is the idea or think or the thought is that everywhere man thinks alike, because as biologically human or man is all everywhere equal in all, so they think alike, they perform alike. So that is called having similar mental capacity. Similarly they think say similarly the dream. So that is called psychic uniquity of mankind. Due to psychic uniqueness of mankind, then what happens? They develop, they invent the similar way. That is cultural concept of cultural parallels. So invention, you can say invention for mobile take place everywhere, because this is a psychic unity. If you go back to based on the theory, this one, then you can say that what due to psychic unity of mankind, they think everywhere similar way and they invent similar way. So that's why there is a concept of cultural parallel. As they invent, suppose you can say invention of fire, we can say invention of pottery, we can invention of society, culture, domestication, agriculture, whatever you say, if they develop similar way, whatever developed in Egypt, in the Mysore country, that is developed in the Indus Valley civilization, Mysore civilization and the Indus Valley civilization, because of thinking of similar thinking capacity. So this is called this. What are the two key facts or core of the evolutionism? They believe on these two: psychic unity of mankind and what concept of culture parallels. Next come to, that means we can say the culture is developed. Suppose evolutionism is divided into two types. Evolutionism classical, neo-evolutionist. Classical evolutionist and neo-evolutionist. Is it right? Classical, and this is again divided into three types: British classical, American classical evolutionism, American, and German. Okay, the classical evolutionism again falls into three categories, that is British, America, and what? German. Is it right? Next also neo-evolution also falls into two categories, that is American neo-evolutionist and British neo-evolutionist. So American neo-evolutionist and British class evolutionist. So see that, so the contributor in this British are Taylor, Morgan, E.B. Taylor, Morgan, Louis Henry Morgan, L.H. Morgan, we can say that is, and so not, this is not meant there. They can say what? Fraser, Taylor and Fraser. So Morgan, L.H. Morgan is coming under this American, L.H. Morgan, American, L.H. Morgan is coming, and this is called Bastian and J.J. Bacofan. So classical universities are divided into three categories broadly. These are British classical, American classical, and German classical. In case of British, the thinkers are Taylor and Fraser, and in the American classical university they are L.H. Morgan, and the Bastian and Bacofan is coming under German classical and neo-classical evolutionist. Is it right? And in this category, in this American, Leslie White, that is, we can write White, and Julian Stewart, and there are B. Gordon Child. So similar way, the neo-evolutionism is divided into two parts, that is American neo-evolutionism and British neo-evolutionism. American neo-evolutionism are the Leslie White and Julian Stewart. In case of British evolutionism, they are called Gordon Child. Is it right? These are what are the broad classification of evolutionism. What? On the basis of, as we have already detailed, this is divided into basis of time period, classical and what? Neo-evolutionism. Is it right? These are divided on the basis of time period. So next come to categorization, as I told, the categorization of this thinker is done on the basis of their time period. The classical thinker belong to the 19th century, and they belongs to the 20th century. Okay, classical belong to the 19th century thinkers and they belongs to the 20th century thinkers. So as we have already said, the basic tenet, the basic idea, the basic concept, the core of this thinker is that psychic unity of mankind and concept of cultural parallels. Is it right? So next come to how the, according to evolutionism, how the different cultures and civilization developed. According to this thinker, according to this scientist and anthropologist, is it right? How the culture developed, how the civilization developed, how the technology developed. We can say civilization started from savagery to barbarism, then move towards civilization. So in this direction it moved towards of, is it right? Civilization. So savagery, barbarism and civilization, stage 1, stage 2 and stage 3. Is it right? And hunting, if you will do technology, hunting, gathering, number 1 is your hunting and gathering, number 1 stage. Number 2 moves towards the agricultural practice. Number 2, then move towards technology based, invention of techniques, invention of technology. Is it right? Invention of technology or technical, or we can say we are moving towards writing. So how they are moving from very simple to very complex one, that means, and in order to prove evolution, he has to took similarity in previous stages. Is it right? In order to prove evolutionism, one has to look for similarity in previous stages. What are the similarity between the now stages or present stage and the past tense? This they are developed another concept which is called survival of the past. What do you mean by survival of the past? Means there are certain cultural features or cultural elements which are found today in the present society or present culture, though it is advanced more certain limit, it is advanced, but they don't have any function, but still they exist. That is called survival of the past. Certain elements of culture, certain part of the culture till present today, that is called survival of the past. Is it right? And we can say so these cultural survival, Morgan called the survival as relics or remains or traces of culture. According to Morgan, as I have told, the survival of the past I have told is that certain elements or certain factors, certain part of the culture which are present in the today's society or culture, they are also present in the past. But though whether they are functional or non-functional, still then they are also present in today's cultural phase. But according to Morgan called this survival of the past as relics or survivals. Relics, remaining part, just like the biological, as we call the vestigial organ. There are certain organs which are non-functional today but found in the human body or any kind of other body, that is called, we can say appendicites, we can say human tail is in a vestigial and limited form, that are called, though they are non-functional, they are still present. Is it right? Like that, these are called relics, vestigial parts or survivals. or otherwise you can say traces of culture. Trace of culture, according to Morgan, these are called so trace of culture. So this survival of the past is according to what? According to Morgan, L.H. Morgan, Louis Henry Morgan called this as relics or by survivals or trace of a culture. Is it right? And the term survival was actually developed by Edward Bernard Tyler. The term survival was used by Edward Bernard Tyler or E.B. Tyler as the cultural traits that continue to exist in the stage after stage in cultural evolution. Stage after they are found, they are existing found, one stage after another, stage after stage, but without any functions. Is it right? So Morgan called this survival the relics or remains or static traces. Otherwise you can say survivals or remains. So according to Morgan, these are called remains. So survivals refer to both material and non-material culture. Non-material culture has two parts, as you know, that material part of culture and non-material part of the culture, and the survivals and relics belongs to both this part, non-material and material part of the culture. So classical evolution used the historical approach, and next we can say how the evolution proceeds. Culture process, that is, we can unilinear sequence or multilinear or universal. So unilinear in a single line, single way, and the multilinear, multiple lines, multi-way, and universal. It is everywhere present. That is called the way in which the culture spread. So in this way, going to define on this side, E.B. Tyler, Edward Bernard Tyler, while thinking about this culture, he the first one who gave the scientific definition of what culture. As you can say, culture is that complex whole. Which involves knowledge, belief, art, and morals, law, and any other capabilities and what habits acquired by man during his lifetime. That means, according to E.B. Tyler, anything that is moral, law, custom, habit, anything that is acquired and other capabilities and habits are togetherly form the culture. Means he wanted to define that culture is acquired, not inherited. Remember that one, culture is acquired, not inherited. That means we acquire culture by living in the society, and is it right? So that is not in the present in the gene, that is inheritance, as we have seen in the case of Mendel's. Next one is civilization. As we have told, it moves from savagery to barbarism and more toward civilization. Technology, hunting gathering, primitive hunting gathering, फिर agriculture, फिर writing started. Then started writing. Hunting gathering, agriculture, then writing developed, and religion. When we will talk about religion, development of religion according to this new, then we can say that animism, belief on soul, animism, then moves to animatism, non-living things, animatism, then move towards what? Totemism in the powers, then moves to polytheism, belief on many religion, then come to monotheism. To see how the cultural sequence developed, religion developed, animism, believe in the soul, believe in the materials of fact, and totemism believe in the some spirits of powers. Then polytheism or monotheism. Polytheism believes in more number of religions together, and monotheism what is a single direction singing. And if you will talk about the marriage, if you will talk according to the evolutionary, how the marriage proceeds, how the marriage developed, marriage कैसे डेवलप हुआ, marriage कैसे डेवलप हुआ, that means we can say primitive promiscuity, number 3 promiscuity. Next come to polygamy or group marriage, polygamy or group marriage. Next come to what? Next come to monogamy. So this sequence, what is the meaning of this? Primitive promiscuity, that means there was no marriage at that time. There is no, they don't know how to make with whom to make sexual relationship, to whom to make partner. There is no certain criteria, rule, regulation, hard fast rule, regulation, nothing is what they are. They are making just like the relationship, what social relation, they are also what making their sexual relations. There is no boundary. But after that comes group marriage. They try to marry a group of living together, and they marry each other, they have relationship with each other. That is started, they started the what is group. Now it is monotheism, single marriage, single couple, 1+1. Is it right? That is called monogamy. Monogamy, mono means single, gamy means of marriage, so single marriage, one pattern +1, 1+1 female, 1 female. That is in case of a polygamy, we can say 1 male many female, or 1 female many male. That is called polyandry and polygyny. We will discuss in the next marriage part. We have already discussed most of these parts of the evolution, and the methodology used by this evolutionist is like particular, we can say Tyler used 2 basic methods, that is comparative method and study of culture of history and rethinking. These methods are used by Tyler. Comparative method, by comparing a study of culture history just by studying the history, or rethinking. Is it right? So these are the methods used by the study. And this is all about present class. In the next class I will bring some more theories or thought about this. Okay, till then, bye.